Hi there, and thank you for joining us, just as the sign says. I know this has been quite a while since our last video. I thank you all for being patient and waiting for it to be made and posted. Today, unfortunately, I usually give you guys a background of a tree outside or something like that, but unfortunately today it is really unpleasant day weather-wise. We've got rain and just all kinds of yuckiness. So unfortunately today we're going to have to just look at pictures off my laptop. Hopefully that will do for today. And please keep in mind, I am not a techie person. I'm doing the best I can with this. So if this video is a little bit choppy, please bear with me. Even though we are people of faith here in this community, none of us are perfect. And unfortunately this is not one of my strengths. So I'm doing my very best. First of all, some of you may remember who have been with our community for quite a while that I think it was a couple months ago by now, we were planning on making a very special memorial video for two of the shootings that had occurred. I believe at the time it was Dayton and Texas, I think it was. Dayton in Texas or something like that. Not trying to be insensitive, I just forgot to write it down before I started. And unfortunately, because of that, we were going to make the video, but because there have been shootings since that, regrettably and very sadly, we felt that it would be a bit insensitive to only include those two shootings instead of the following ones. So instead, we're going to, this is a little bit of a mixed video this time. We're trying to actually add 2 or 3 subjects into one, so please, again, bear with us. The first thing we'd like to do, of course, is call for a moment of silence, and I hope that you will all join us in that. We're going to have a moment of silence, pretty much just a general one for all victims of gun violence. I don't care, or I say I because, of course, I'm the video person, but we do not care whether you're thinking of someone you lost yourself in act of gun violence or just in general from the past, recent, it doesn't matter, just all gun violence situations. So we're going to start out with that, and then we also have a Thanksgiving message for you, and another message that we hope will continue not only for the holiday seasons, and I say seasons meaning Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and all that, and for all non-Christian religious holidays such as Hanukkah and whatever else might be celebrated. It's very hard for me to keep track of everything here. I try to do my best to keep track of all things that pertain to the videos, but as I said, we're only humans here, so yeah, we're going to do the moment of silence, the Thanksgiving message, and like I said, the special message at the end of this, which was sort of inspired by something that happened to one of us while we were out. You'll understand better what that means when it comes. So anyway, with nothing further as of yet, we're going to start with a moment of silence. Please be patient because we're going to set up a special background for that moment of silence, and then we will let you know when it begins. So just give us one moment. Okay, so now we are going to begin with the moment of silence. It's not going to be necessarily timed. We're just going to take several seconds and put our thoughts and prayers forward to God for all the victims, survivors, and just anyone that's been affected in any way at all by gun violence, anywhere around the world, honestly, because we don't just do the United States, we do anywhere. So let us begin with that. Okay, we thank you for joining us for that moment of silence. We took the opportunity to offer a short prayer to God asking for gun violence to stop, and that for all who are affected by it, that their needs are provided for, whether it's comfort, healing, justice, and so on. So we thank you for joining with us. We are now going to move on to a special two-part Thanksgiving message, and as I said, conclude with the additional special message at the very end. Again, give us a minute to set up the background. Okay, so as some of you may or may not be aware of, although many of us in the United States, which is where the most of, if not all, of the admins for this channel reside, most of us here in the United States celebrate a holiday called Thanksgiving. For most of us, it's a time, for the religious portion of us, it's a time to offer thanks to God for all He's provided for the year, whether it be food, shelter, clothing, anything. It's our time for that, as well as gathering with family and close friends to offer that thanks to God and to share in a Thanksgiving meal, whether it be the traditional food of turkey and all that goes with it, or another type of meal of your choosing. For those of us who are non-religious, from what I've been told, it's just basically a time to get together with family, have a lot of good food and things like that. Not so much maybe the giving thanks to God part, but at least you're getting together with family. However, for many Native Americans, this is actually referred to as the National Day of Mourning. For those of you who maybe are only able to hear audio, maybe you have vision issues of some kind, I will read this background to you. The title is National Day of Mourning, and it says, since 1970, Native Americans have gathered at noon on Coles Hill in Plymouth to commemorate a National Day of Mourning on the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday. Many Native Americans do not celebrate the arrival of the Pilgrims and other European settlers. To them, Thanksgiving Day is a reminder of the genocide of millions of their people, the theft of their lands, and the relentless assault on their culture. Participants in National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native people to survive today. It is a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression which Native Americans continue to experience. And then on the bottom it says, this is actually what you're seeing is a picture of a plaque that was, or I say plaque, but it might not be considered a plaque. But anyway, a stone that was put at the site of this memorial. Sorry. And on the bottom it says, erected by the town of Plymouth on behalf of the, United American Indians of New England. Had to get a little lower so I could read that, sorry. So I just wanted to just start off with acknowledging that this isn't all just a happy, joyous, celebration of togetherness for everybody, that for many people in the United States, this is actually a very somber day and a call to action type of day. So to those of you who may be watching this who are Native and are going to be acknowledging the National Day of Mourning, on behalf of those who are allies to you and who are actually very regretful of what happened to you, we just want you to know you were in our thoughts and prayers. And we hope that this acknowledgement was done for you as respectfully as possible, and that it is a positive thing for you that we've done this. So we just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge the Native Americans that may be part of our community, not just our community, our faith community, or our online community here at God's Not Dead Movement, but also our community just as a country too. So we want to acknowledge that, and we're going to now switch over to our other Thanksgiving background to acknowledge the rest of us. Hold on one moment. And I just wanted to add one little other message with what the picture you just saw, the National Day of Mourning photo. When I say acknowledge the rest of us, I just mean how we choose to acknowledge the day, because it shouldn't be, we shouldn't be considering Native Americans a separate community that is just here. They are a part of us, we are a part of them. We are one. So we are all children of God. We are all United States citizens, so I just wanted to acknowledge that. I didn't mean that to sound like they're their own group and we're celebrating our own thing. It's not that at all. What I meant by that is simply that those of us who are not participating in National Day of Mourning events for whatever reason, this was for those people. So for those of you, again, that have vision issues of any kind, this says... on the top part of it says, there is always something to be thankful for, and then in block letters it spells out the word thankful. And then underneath there are 5 pumpkins, and each one has its own word on it, and it says health, home, family, friends, food. And we here couldn't possibly agree more with this. There is always something to be thankful for, and these 5 things are definitely a good start to be thankful for. So this is time now where we just want to say, from all of us here at, as we refer to it, GNDM, we just do the letters. We're kind of techie that way, at least. Similar to like LOL and all that, we decided we're just going to refer to ourselves as GNDM for short. Not being disrespectful of, what we're doing here, just we thought it would be a cute and faster way to express who we are. So from all of us here at GNDM, we would like to wish all of you out there who are following us or have anything to do with our page a very blessed, safe, and happy, as well as thankful Thanksgiving. Okay, so now we're going to go to the last and final message, which actually is sort of a carry-on of, or part 2 of what you're seeing right now. It's sort of a Thanksgiving / Christmas / anytime during the year you want to do it kind of message. So hold on one moment while we switch the background. So now as you're reading this little picture says, when you're the recipient of when you're the recipient of an act of kindness, don't pay the person back, pay it forward. So we chose this because this kind of goes with the message what we're saying today. One of the most important and powerful messages I think we can offer to all of you, which this is what we were mentioning in the beginning of the video, that we said this idea was kind of inspired by something that had already happened. One of our admins had actually been out and witnessed an act of kindness. And in fact, this has actually been witnessed twice by one of our admins, so it's kind of awesome that it's already happening. So this isn't like we're starting a new thing. This is already going on, but we want to encourage all of you to participate and join in with it. The act of kindness, or one of them, rather, that we've witnessed is while one of the admins was in a checkout line. First of all, one of the events that happened is that the person in front had actually offered the admin and who they were with to go ahead of them in the checkout line, and once they got ahead of them, the person that was then ahead of them then turned around and actually paid for the item that the admin had. So it was sort of like a double act of kindness, and both of them had basically said, 'tis the season, that's what it's all about, is being kind and showing kindness to others. And the other act of kindness was similar. I don't believe anybody let anyone go ahead of them in line, but the whole idea of paying for another person's order, if you're able to, obviously financially able to, is what went on. So we would like to encourage those acts of kindness by promoting it here, and hopefully you all will join in doing the same thing. Some acts of kindness, like we just explained, could be simply if you're in line already paying for your items at a store, whether it's a grocery store, retail store, whatever, and there's someone behind you that maybe has only 1 or 2 small items that aren't too expensive, maybe just automatically add their stuff to your order and, pay for it. Or if there's a neighbor that's going through a rough time, or even not a rough time, just the neighbor's nice and you figure, what, I want to do something nice back, maybe, again, if financially able, buy them, a bag of groceries or something, just as a thoughtful thing to do. or even if there's a family with children, whether you feel like they're in need or not, you could always buy a few things for a child or for their children and leave it on their doorstep. This does not have to be something that you don't have to be known that you did it. You know what I'm saying? You could do it anonymously. That's actually part of a great reward, is knowing that nobody will know you did it. You won't get any recognition for it. You just know you did it. And right there is such an incredible feeling, especially if you can kind of see from a distance, the reaction on their faces and stuff. That's amazing. Or if, you do an act of kindness, nobody knows you did it, but later on the recipient of the act of kindness mentions to you, oh my goodness, I woke up in the morning and I found on my doorstep this or that, or, in the mail, I received an anonymous check for this amount, or whatever the case, or, any random act of kindness you can think of to do. It's just kind of awesome once, a person is telling you, not knowing that you're the one that did it. They're just like, oh, somebody did this for me, and it was such a blessing. It's really a good feeling. So I definitely encourage, I always say I, like I said, because I'm the one making the video, but we encourage random acts of kindness all year long, not just for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, but all year long. What was I going to say? And another thought, even if you can't do like one-on-one acts of kindness, like maybe for whatever reason you feel uncomfortable with that idea, or, you don't want it to be known that it's you and you're afraid that you might slip and do something so that people find out it's you or something. Another thing you could think of is to donate your talents or a monetary donation to one of your favorite organizations. Some out there that might be a good thought would be Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. Oop, wait a minute. We're losing light here. Sorry. Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. I believe that's in Utah. I'm not sure. But they're a no-kill, and they believe their, what do you call it? Not logo. Their motto. Sorry. Their motto is save them all. So they will not kill. Some animals have actually arrived at their sanctuary and never left because they just needed a permanent home for whatever reason. Of course, like American Cancer Society, even donating blood at the Red Cross or whatever blood donation center you have in your area. And another one that was recently brought to my attention, which I think is fantastic, a totally fantastic idea, is there is a reservation in, oh boy, I think it's South Dakota, but honestly I can't remember. I'm so sorry, that's terrible. I should have that information. But you can just look it up yourselves if you're interested anyway and find out. But there's a reservation, of course it's within the United States. I think it's South Dakota. It might be North Dakota, I can't remember. But anyway, it's called Pine Ridge Reservation. It is one of the most in need and poorest reservations or communities, if you would rather, there is in the United States. So another thing you can do, unfortunately, I don't believe there is a way to send them anything like by mail. I'm not sure. There is one site that I've personally found that it's like Friends of Pine Ridge Reservation or something, where they give different addresses of people that are living in the area that are willing to bring stuff that they receive on behalf of people to the reservation, if you're unable to do it. But I know one of the admin's good friends actually makes a trip once or twice a year to Pine Ridge. So if anyone is at all interested, you can always leave a message and somebody will get in touch with you with more information about it if you're interested. I think the next trip there by that person's friend is like in another few days, so I honestly don't know. When the information was given to me, I thought it was mentioned that they are accepting donations of like unopened new toys, holiday cards, things like that, all the way up until the day that the person is going down there to Pine Ridge. But There might have been a cutoff a little bit sooner than that, I can't remember. But either way, anyone who's interested can still leave a comment or, express their interest in whatever way they can. And one of the admins will get back to you with information about, when's the best time to offer the donations and so on. So that was another option for an act of kindness as well. And like I said, I believe one of those things said Friends of Pine Ridge, and it was a website that actually offered different addresses and stuff. So that's another thing that you can, if you don't feel comfortable with getting that personal as far as using a friend of one of the admins, you can always just find a way to do it yourself, basically. So anyway, that's another idea. There are so many, there's just so many random acts of kindness, whether it's paying for someone's groceries at the checkout or, I don't know nowadays where there are more security and privacy settings, but I know a few years back it was thought that if you're able to afford to, you could always pay for one of someone's bills, whether it be, their rent or an electric bill or whatever. Of course, if money is not exactly plentiful for you, and I know many people are in that position, there's nothing to be ashamed of, and if you have the talent to sew or knit or whatever, there's always the option to make some winter hats and gloves and stuff and give them to people in the neighborhood, whether anonymously or not, that could maybe use some. I know I read online recently that there's a group of people that are providing, setting up either small refrigerators or different cooling units, things to keep things cool, and putting bottles of water and peanut butter sandwich and stuff like that in a public area, so that the homeless of the area, or maybe just the people that can't afford it on their own, can go and get a sandwich and a drink at no cost. There's also people who are buying scarves, and I think it's hats, I'm not sure, but I know scarves were a big one, and actually tying them on trees in public parks so that the homeless or, as they say, less fortunate can just walk up and grab a warm scarf and tie it around them, especially if, they are unfortunately in a position where most of the time they have to either be in a shelter or just out in the elements or whatever. So there are a lot of different things people can do, that we all can do, to pay it forward and give back a little bit. But the message to this was, if you can think of these things, please, don't let this just be a holiday season thing. Let this be an all year long thing. Even in the summertime, if it's not a matter of keeping people warm with hats, gloves, and scarves, people still need to eat. People still need to eat. They still need to pay their bills, different things. So please keep the spirit of Christ and of Christmas and just of kindness going all year long. That is our biggest thing we want, is just that spirit to keep going all year long. And please, if any of you have any further ideas other than what's been mentioned in this video of ways to, whether anonymously or not anonymously, commit an act of kindness or pay it forward in some way, anyone has any other ideas other than what's mentioned, please feel free to leave a comment with that idea. Just because you comment does not mean it's not anonymous, because leaving an idea doesn't mean you're doing that idea. It could just be you came up with an idea and wanted to share it. So please don't be afraid to leave the comments, because like I said, it doesn't mean that, only you know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to do something, you can make it as anonymous as you want or not anonymous. So if you decide you want to, whatever your idea is, if you want to post it and then you want to do it, well, no one's going to know that unless you make it known that you did it. So we definitely welcome as many ideas as possible. And we thank you for taking the time. I know close to 25 minutes is a long video, but like I said, this has been a while in the making. So we appreciate your patience, your understanding of, scheduling and trying to get all this to work out and come together. So we're hoping that next month sometime we can make a Christmas video. But even if that doesn't work out, there'll definitely be some kind of Christmas posting. So we hope you'll look forward to that as well. And please, share our posts on your own timelines and, spread the word. The more people in the community, the more the more kind acts can be done around the neighborhoods and communities and around the world. and just the more of a community feeling it will be. You know, we always say the more the merrier. So we wish you all a very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. Again, if you're not participating in the Thanksgiving aspect, but rather the day of mourning aspect, I know myself personally will definitely be taking at least, a moment or two, at least at the start of the day before things get crazy, to remember all the lives lost and remember all the hurt and just horrors that you all went through. Not necessarily nowadays you guys went through, but, your ancestors and such. So I definitely will be remembering, and hopefully everyone else will too. And we look forward to our next video and to hearing what you thought of this one. So God bless, thank you, and we will see you next time. Have a great Sunday. Bye.